Logan Paul caught the mystery attacker backstage on Raw. Logan Paul just became the most unlikely hero in WWE history by catching the mystery attacker backstage on Raw. But here's what's going to make you absolutely lose your mind: the person under that mask is someone so close to WWE's power structure that their exposure is going to trigger the biggest scandal in company history. And Logan didn't catch them by accident. He was targeted by this attacker because Logan discovered evidence that proves the Final Dynasty has been orchestrating attacks on dozens of wrestlers for over a year, and the mystery attacker was sent to silence Logan before he could expose the entire conspiracy. What Logan caught on camera is going to destroy careers, end friendships, and reveal that WWE's management has been complicit in systematic violence against their own roster. Because this isn't just about one mystery attacker. This is about a network of people, wrestlers, producers, and executives who've been working together to eliminate anyone who threatens the Final Dynasty's control. And Logan Paul, of all people, is the one who just blew the whole operation wide open. Monday Night Raw, backstage area, approximately 9:23 p.m. Logan Paul was in his locker room reviewing footage on his phone, footage that he'd been secretly collecting for weeks showing suspicious activity backstage. Logan may be a part-timer and an influencer, but he's not stupid. He noticed patterns. Certain wrestlers getting attacked always seemed to coincide with Final Dynasty members having convenient alibis. Security cameras in specific areas would mysteriously malfunction right before incidents occurred. So Logan did what influencers do: he started documenting everything, recording conversations, screenshotting schedules, building a case that something systematic was happening behind the scenes that WWE didn't want exposed. What Logan didn't know was that his investigation had been discovered by the very people he was investigating, and they sent someone to stop him before he could go public with what he'd found. Logan was reviewing his evidence when he heard footsteps approaching his locker room, but something was off. The footsteps were deliberately quiet, careful, predatory. Logan immediately grabbed his phone and started recording, positioning himself behind the door. The mystery attacker entered Logan's locker room full tactical gear, mask, the same outfit that's been terrorizing wrestlers for months. But instead of ambushing Logan like they'd done to dozens of others, Logan was ready. What happened next was caught on Logan's phone camera in full HD footage that's now going viral across every social media platform. Logan jumped the attacker from behind, and the two of them started brawling in the locker room. This wasn't choreographed wrestling, this was a legitimate fight with both people throwing real strikes, grappling for position, destroying furniture as they crashed around the room. Logan Paul, for all his detractors say about him, is a legitimate athlete. Former high school wrestler, trained in boxing, exceptionally strong for his size. He held his own against this mystery attacker in ways that surprised everyone watching the footage. The fight spilled out into the hallway, and other wrestlers started emerging from their locker rooms to see what was happening. Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, several others. And they immediately jumped in to help Logan restrain the attacker. With 5 wrestlers holding the mystery attacker down, Logan reached forward and ripped off the mask. And the identity revealed made the entire hallway go silent in shock. It was Dominic Mysterio. The crowd watching on the arena screens erupted in boos. Because Dominic has been positioned as a heel who's aligned with various factions, but he's also Rey Mysterio's son. He's wrestling royalty by lineage. And now he was exposed as the mystery attacker who'd been systematically injuring wrestlers for months. But Logan wasn't satisfied with just unmasking Dominic. He grabbed his phone, pulled up the evidence he'd been collecting, and started showing it to the wrestlers gathered in the hallway. Photos of Dominic meeting with Final Dynasty members. Screenshots of text messages coordinating attacks. Video footage of Dominic and the tactical gear near attack sites on nights when other wrestlers were ambushed. Logan's voice was shaking with anger. This isn't just Dominic acting alone. He's been working for the Final Dynasty this entire time. Every mystery attack for the past year? Most of them were Dominic following orders from Roman Reigns to take out anyone who threatened their control. Dominic tried to break free from the wrestlers holding him, screaming, "You don't understand. They forced me. They said if I didn't do what they wanted, they'd." But before Dominic could finish that sentence, Roman Reigns' music hit. Roman walked out with The Rock, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Jacob Fatu, and now Finn Balor, the full Final Dynasty coming to address this situation. The look on Roman's face wasn't anger, it was calculation. He was immediately strategizing how to control this narrative. Roman grabbed a microphone. "Logan Paul, you think you've exposed some grand conspiracy? All you've done is reveal that Dominic Mysterio is a desperate kid who wanted to prove himself worthy of the Final Dynasty by taking initiative and handling threats before we had to ask him to." That statement was chilling because Roman just admitted on live television that the Final Dynasty has been identifying threats and having them handled. He essentially confirmed the conspiracy while trying to distance the main Final Dynasty members from direct responsibility. Logan fired back, "Roman, I have receipts. I have text messages between you and Dominic where you explicitly tell him which wrestlers to target and when to attack them. I have evidence that you coordinated with WWE management to make sure security cameras weren't working during attacks. This isn't Dominic acting alone, this is you running a criminal enterprise from inside WWE. The crowd was going insane. This was no longer a storyline, this felt like a legitimate exposure of corruption with real evidence being presented on live television. Then Logan did something absolutely brilliant and absolutely dangerous. He airdropped his entire evidence folder to every wrestler with an iPhone in the arena. Dozens of phones started buzzing simultaneously as wrestlers received hundreds of screenshots, videos, and documents showing the Final Dynasty's systematic campaign of violence. Wrestlers were looking at their phones with expressions of horror and rage. Because the evidence showed that attacks they'd suffered, attacks they thought were random or personal, were actually orchestrated by the Final Dynasty to remove them from championship contention, main event spots, or WrestleMania programs. Kevin Owens looked at his phone and his face went pale. The multiple accidents he'd suffered over the past year? Coordinated attacks by Dominic on Roman's orders. Sami Zayn's early attacks before the recent Final Dynasty beatdowns? Dominic. Injuries that derailed Shinsuke Nakamura's push? Dominic. The list went on and on. Drew McIntyre looked at the evidence and then looked at Roman with murder in his eyes. You had me attacked 4 times because I was getting over with crowds and you were threatened by my momentum? Roman's response was ice cold. Drew, nothing personal. Just business. You were becoming a problem, so we eliminated the problem. That's what leaders do. That admission, that casual acknowledgement that the Final Dynasty had been systematically injuring wrestlers for business reasons, triggered an immediate revolt. Wrestlers started pouring out of locker rooms. Not to join the Final Dynasty. Not to watch from a distance. To confront them. Within minutes, there were over 20 wrestlers surrounding the ring where the Final Dynasty stood. Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, despite his injuries from days earlier, Rey Mysterio, who looked absolutely devastated that his son was involved, AJ Styles, LA Knight, Apollo Crews, and many others. Dean Ambrose grabbed a microphone. Roman, you've been running WWE like your personal mafia, and we've all been too scared or too isolated to fight back. But Logan just gave us proof. He gave us evidence. And now we have something we didn't have before. We have unity. Every wrestler you've attacked, every career you've derailed, every person you've victimized, we're all here now, and we outnumber you. The visual was powerful. 6 Final Dynasty members in the ring, surrounded by 20+ wrestlers on the outside. For the first time, the Final Dynasty looked genuinely concerned because the numbers were overwhelmingly against them. Still being held by Drew and others, Dominic started breaking down. Tears streaming down his face, he began confessing everything. They approached me a year ago. Roman said I'd never be more than Rey Mysterio's son unless I proved myself worthy of real power. He said attacking his enemies would earn me a spot in the Final Dynasty and championship opportunities. So I did it. I attacked dozens of people. Some I hurt badly. Some I put on the shelf for months. And they kept asking for more, kept giving me new targets, kept promising me that soon I'd be elevated. Then Dominic revealed something that made the situation even worse, but it wasn't just Roman. WWE management knew. They helped coordinate. They disabled security cameras. They made sure medical staff weren't nearby during attacks. They protected me every time someone got suspicious. This goes all the way to the top of WWE. The crowd's reaction was nuclear. Because if Dominic was telling the truth, this wasn't just the Final Dynasty being heel wrestlers, this was WWE's corporate structure being complicit in systematic violence against their own employees. Triple H's music hit, not his entrance music, but his corporate music that he uses when appearing as Chief Content Officer. He walked out looking absolutely furious, and you couldn't tell if he was angry at the Final Dynasty for getting exposed or angry at Logan for exposing them. Triple H addressed the situation. What we've witnessed tonight is a serious situation that requires immediate investigation. Dominic Mysterio is suspended indefinitely, effective immediately. As for the allegations about WWE management involvement, I can assure everyone that we will conduct a thorough internal review. But Logan wasn't letting Triple H off that easily. Logan grabbed a microphone. Hunter, with all due respect, you're in some of these text messages. You knew Dominic was attacking people and you helped cover it up because the Final Dynasty's dominance was good for business. Don't stand there and pretend you're shocked when you were part of the conspiracy. The crowd exploded. Logan just accused Triple H, WWE's Chief Content Officer, one of the most powerful executives in the company, of being complicit in a criminal conspiracy to assault wrestlers. Triple H's face went red with anger. Logan, you're making serious allegations without understanding context. Yes, I was aware that the Final Dynasty had issues with certain roster members. Yes, I monitored situations to ensure they didn't escalate beyond acceptable parameters. But I absolutely did not sanction or coordinate attacks on WWE talent. But wrestlers in the ring weren't buying it. Kevin Owens, then why did security cameras conveniently malfunction before every attack? Why were medical staff always busy elsewhere when these incidents occurred? Either you're criminally negligent or you're lying, Hunter. The standoff was intense. Triple H on the stage, the final dynasty in the ring, 20-plus wrestlers surrounding them, and Logan Paul standing in the middle with his phone full of evidence that could destroy multiple careers and possibly trigger actual legal action. Roman Reigns finally spoke, and his words were chillingly honest. You want the truth? Fine. Yes, we had Dominic handle problems. Yes, we worked with management to ensure plausible deniability. Yes, we systematically removed anyone who threatened our position. Because that's what winners do. That's how you maintain power in this business. You eliminate threats before they become problems. And if that makes us criminals, then WWE has been run by criminals since Vince McMahon's first day. That statement, that admission, created absolute chaos. The 20 wrestlers outside the ring started trying to storm it. Security flooded the area trying to prevent a full riot. Triple H was screaming for everyone to calm down while WWE officials desperately tried to restore order. The final image before the show went off the air was Logan Paul standing in the middle of absolute chaos, holding his phone with evidence that could bring down the final dynasty, WWE's management structure, and potentially trigger legal investigations into systematic workplace violence. Logan Paul caught the mystery attacker backstage on Raw, and what he exposed is going to change WWE forever. Dominic Mysterio revealed as the attacker working under final dynasty orders. Evidence showing systematic attacks coordinated with WWE management's knowledge and assistance. Triple H implicated in the conspiracy, and Roman Reigns admitting on live television that they've been eliminating threats through violence and intimidation. This isn't wrestling storyline anymore, this is potential criminal conspiracy being exposed in real time. The locker room is united against the final dynasty for the first time. Management is in crisis mode trying to contain the scandal. And Logan Paul, of all people, is the unlikely hero who brought everything to light. What's your take? Should there be legal consequences for WWE management? Is Dominic's career over? Can the final dynasty survive this exposure? Explode in the comments because this is wrestling's biggest scandal in decades. If this breakdown connected all the dots, smash that like button and share everywhere. Subscribe to Wrestling News CC because this story is developing with potential legal action and corporate fallout. Logan Paul exposed the conspiracy, and wrestling will never be the same.